You want to record or
Yeah. So I just recorded to the cloud. So if we could download this afterwards and put it onto the Google Classroom, I don't know if we're going to finish the entire lecture, but I did notice some students that we had from last week are missing. And I don't really want them to miss out on this because this is really important information, right? So we're going to do a lecture on Debate 101 or an introduction to debate. And just a general overview of the topics that we're going to cover today is like the first thing that we're going to talk about is what is debate? The second aspect is why should one partake in debate? The third aspect is the benefits of debating. The fourth aspect, the competitive debate. And last but not least, ways to become a great debater. So I don't know if we're going to cover all of it today, but I do want to cover a good portion. So with that being said, let's kind of have a discussion. And I know my students that have already had me already gave you the definition, but anyone want to try to take a guess? What is debate, or how would you define it? If you want to come off mic or mute. What is debate? The benefits of debating? I mean, sorry, what is debate? How would you define what debate is?
Debate is a formal discussion where two sides present arguments about a specific topic. One side agree with the idea called the affirmative side, and the other side disagree, the negative side.
You didn't Google it, did you, Z?
No.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's a good perspective, right? There's two sides. They're arguing about a particular topic, right? Anyone else want to add on to that? I have a specific way of defining debate.
Me,
Go for it, Adara.
for me, debate is like arguing something is not between you and me, but it's
Wait, can you speak up a little bit louder, Adara?
yeah. In my perception, I think debate is not like you say that debate is like it's not between you and me, and the problem is between the problem and me, like that. You understand? I know.
Yeah, it is a very good point of pinpoint for resolution, right? And it is important to be calm, but there's a specific definition that I'm looking for. What separates, so Z mentioned before that debate has two sides, right? But let's say you're having a regular argument with a friend, right? And you could still have those two things where you have two, so each person takes on a side, but there's something that differentiates debate from the regular arguing. Anyone want to take a guess?
sorry, sir, is this the one that you said it's not me versus you, but it's me and you versus the problem?
No. That was just a life lesson I gave you.
Okay.
That was only a life lesson I gave you. Something different about debate. What debate differentiates debate from regular arguing? That is my question.
Just like discussion between a
No,
person.
you could still have a discussion in regular arguing.
Debate in life is the way we share different ideas, listen to others, and learn to see things from more than one.
No. I appreciate you, but you could still do that in regular discussions and conversations. There's a specific definition that I'm looking for. And Z, by the way, did you debate before or no?
No, I just watch a lot of debate films and videos.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, Randy, I noticed you. Yeah, I saw your mic come off.
Okay, hello, sir. Is the difference between debate and normal arguing the fact that debate is more regulated, is more formalized?
Bingo. Thank you so much. Randy gave away the answer. So what separates debate from regular arguing is debate is formalized. It's formalized argumentation, right? So while argumentation is a critical aspect of debating, it is not solely debating. Debate is formalized argumentation. It has, compared to regular arguing, you're arguing in a formal manner. There's a set of rules, time structures, etc. Though people do use the terms interchangeably, we'll use the term debate as what was defined from above. So I'll give you guys, like, if you want like a minute or two just to jot that down. You guys all take some notes. And you don't finish, you will get the recording after. Okay, cool. I'm just going to move on to the next slide in just a second. And if you need to rewrite this down, and one thing I want to say is that you don't have to write word for word, just write it to the best of your understanding. So then it also saves time. And if you want to see this again, right, you could take a pause, make some space, and then if you're going to watch the recording, you could rewatch it. Okay, cool. So continuing on debate, right? When people first think of debate, the first thing that comes to mind is arguing, right? But as I mentioned before, there's a lot more to argue than just plain arguing, but arguments or argumentation is a very critical component. This is what is something a very important word too. An argument is a reason or set of reasons given with the aim of persuading others that an action or idea is right or wrong.
Motion. Turn on motion for
So just write the definition of an argument, a reason, or a set of reasons given with the aim of persuading others that an action or idea is right or wrong. Cool. Any questions so far? Does anyone have any questions for me? Acts to your heart's content.
Yeah, I have a
Cool.
question.
Randy, you have a question? Okay.
Sorry, sir, I didn't realize my
All right. So let me move on to the next one. So before we even get to this point, why do you think people should do debate? Someone start yelling out answers. Why should we do debate? Someone start yelling out answers.
To know what is right and what is wrong.
Okay, you know what is right, what is wrong. All right, what else?
Sir, can I answer?
Yes, sir.
I believe it's to try and discuss about a certain topic or problem to find out a solution with other people, seeing their own different opinions and their own different views.
Yeah, that's a really good thing too, like looking at different angles or different perspectives. And like, what are also the benefits of debating? Feel free to come off mute and share that.
Better critical thinking.
Better critical thinking skills. I know Chatabella definitely improved her critical thinking skills. Okay, cool. Better. What else? What are some of the benefits of doing debate? Better critical thinking, understanding a topic or an issue. What else?
Training confidence.
Gaining confidence is another critical thing. Awesome job. What else? Wonderful students. We got confidence, understanding the other side or perspective, critical thinking skills. What else? What else?
Encourage open-mindedness.
Yes, open-mindedness is another really good element or aspect to it, right? So this is just, and again, right, there's endless benefits associated to debating, right? But some of the points that you all made before is like be the critical thinker, articulate your thoughts, think on your feet, conflict resolution, increase confidence. And I wonder if you're all curious, there's just a link where I got some of those reasons from, where how debating will help you for the rest of your life. And I'll drop that and share it inside the chat. Cool. All right. And this kind of leads me to my next slide, right? So I admit this slide has been tailored especially towards my students in America, but I feel like it could still be very applicable to the, how do you describe it? It could still be very applicable to my students here in Indonesia, right? So the benefits of debate for high school students, and like let's kind of cover it, right? So one thing about debate that really does, and even though again the information is for my students, I use for students, I could still think it's applicable here, is the fact that there's a higher acceptance rate for those who do debate, right? First, top universities, right, especially in the United States or around the world, those who win national awards have a 22 to 30% higher acceptance rate at top tier colleges. And being the captain of a debate team improved an applicant's chances by more than 60% compared to the rest of the applicant pool. And really quickly, does anyone know the Ivy League universities in America? Does anyone know the Ivy League schools in America? Or does anyone want to explain what they are? Okay, you guys have you any of you like really, I guess, like thumbs up or yes or no, have any of you heard of schools like Harvard, Yale, Princeton in America? So the Ivy League universities are the most selective universities in the United States. They're very hard to get into. Like you have to be like the valedictorian and cure cancer or something to get into those schools. And they're like a 4% acceptance rate, right? Ridiculously difficult. So one of those universities in America, right? This is actually the one that Trump went to, is the University of Pennsylvania, and a lot of famous people went there. So one of the students that I taught in sixth grade, when he was just like 11, 12 years old, who's now a university freshman, right? First year in university at the University of Pennsylvania. And I'm very proud of him and his accomplishments for what he has accomplished. And so he's currently there, and he talks about how much debate has changed his life. And again, I offered this before. If you are at the top of your class in high school, like you're first ranked #1 in your high school class, come talk to me if you're interested in applying for elite American universities. I am more than happy to assist in that process. But okay, let's continue, right? Continued higher education, right? 90% of debaters obtain their education after their bachelor's degree and obtain at least one graduate degree. Can someone explain what this means? What does this mean? 90% of debaters continue their education after their bachelor's degree and obtain at least one graduate degree. Can someone come off mic? Chattabel, I know you're wording. I don't know if you're trying to speak. What does this mean, students? Oh, wait, I did not mean to do that. Let me go back to sharing my screen again. What does that mean? 90% of debaters obtain their education after their bachelor's degree and obtain one graduate degree. What
Is
does
it
that
like
mean?
is it like something like master's degree or something? I remember you talking about it, but I completely forgot.
Yeah, yes. Okay. Do you guys know when you go to university, right? Like the first degree that you get from university is something called a bachelor's degree. Just a show of hands if you know that, if you knew that from before. Okay, cool. And then and if you want to pursue higher levels of education, you either could go for a master's degree, which is 1 to 2 years that specialize in your subject, or if you want to be very specialized, you do something called a PhD. So a PhD or master's degree is called a graduate degree. So a fun fact about myself is that I have a bachelor's degree and I have 2 masters. So debate really does make you very educated, and we kind of all want that. And I guarantee Ma'am Erna, Ma'am Amber would all like that for you guys. Well, maybe 2 could be excessive, but we do all want you to be very well put to place. Cool. And essentially, right, 75% of poor students in America, right, which are not very affluent, they actually, if they do debate, they have a very high likelihood of dropping out of university or before even making it in. They're more likely to attend university, right? So I think this is going to be the last slide that I cover before I hand it back over to Ma'am Amber or Ma'am Erna just to lead it, because I realize I do have to hop off. But in essence, right, this is like something very important. It's competitive debate. Really quick, right? Does anyone try to quickly define what that word means? Competitive debate. Oh, I already. Okay, pretend you did not see that bullet point. What does that mean? Competitive debate. Anyone else want to try to define what competitive debate is? Whoa, Randy, I see that hand up. Would you like to explain what competitive debate is, Randy?
I can try. I'm guessing that competitive debating is just debating, but on a higher level, to a point that every motion is like a competition. You're basically
Bingo. It's literally just the kind of debate where you take part in competitions and tournaments. That's
oh,
what competitive debate is, right? And if you think of it's a very analogous to competitive sports. You guys name me some random sports that involve the use of a ball. There's basketball.
Basketball.
Okay, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else?
volleyball.
Tennis.
Football.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Are you so if I go to a basketball game and I start kicking it like a football, what's going to happen to me?
Technical foul.
Like you'll get thrown out of the game, right? So just like there's different sports, there's different debate formats, and they all have their own unique rules and styles. Cool. So this is the part where I think I'm just going to take a pause for this lecture, and we could continue from next week. Ma'am Amber,